The Jujutsu Shenanigans Discord has a suggestions channel in it, and in there, a lot of people post their ideas for the game. Some are really good and have a lot of depth to them, while others are kind of bad. And in this video, I'm going to do some really in-depth reviews of some suggestions, with a really long one at the end, where I talk about a full character idea that sounds kind of cool, but also really flawed. Before that though, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you get even more in-depth analysis of Jujutsu Shenanigans sneak peeks and updates, as well as general commentary about the game. Now, let's start reviewing some suggestions. Emote340 has an interesting idea where he says that if you are in your awakening, you can jump onto a wall and sort of walk or stand on it, like in this Gojo vs Sukuna animation that should be playing in the background. This idea seems kind of double-edged. On the one hand, I could imagine the running that would happen with this and it'd be kind of annoying to deal with. Imagine you're fighting someone and they pop awakening and then they walk up the Twin Towers and escape your fight. That would be very annoying because if you're in your base, you have literally zero way to catch that. On the other hand, there's not a lot of reason to do that because your awakening is already a sort of instant kill, no skill Terminator mode. So if you try to run away with your awakening, you're not going to get the max value out of it. So I actually think this suggestion is pretty good. It could work solely because people shouldn't be running away with their awakenings. But on the other hand, I feel like there's a lot of stupid stuff that might happen by just letting people walk up walls. It's definitely a suggestion that's very interesting with a lot of possibility to go wrong, but it also sounds like it'd be really fun for people if they both awaken at the same time. I'm not really sure how it'd work, but in ranked specifically, I think it would benefit from having a lot more walls and stuff around the map because right now in ranked there's only the invisible walls, but I feel like this could just be kind of fun for main game if it is to be added. It's an interesting suggestion, I kind of like it, but it definitely does need some testing and fine-tuning so that things don't go horribly wrong. The next suggestion is from Ice Piper NX, and this one suggests a battle of domains, but not the standard domain clashing that's in Sorcerer Battlegrounds. This idea is a little bit interesting. If two people summon a domain at the same time, they're gonna be put in their own little, like, cross domain, and then they have to fight, and whoever does more damage will end up having the superior domain, and that one will happen while the other one gets cancelled out. This suggestion is interesting, but I honestly don't think it'll be added. I think Z's pretty dedicated to the whole having domains be countered by interrupting them, rather than adding domain clashing to the game, so, you know, it probably won't happen, because it'd be an entirely new mechanic. Still, I think it's interesting, but there's definitely a lot of testing that need to happen for this to actually be implemented, because there's also a lot that could go wrong here, and also a lot of stuff that's left up to the imagination in this suggestion too. Like, for example, how much damage do you need to do, or how much time do you have to until the domain like takes over? Because I have a feeling that's what's going to happen with this is that if it's a timer, then someone's just going to get a hit and then run for the entire duration of it, and that's just kind of unfun. So even if it's optimal, I feel like a lot of people are just going to do this strategy of hitting the other person, getting that damage number up so that their domain is the one that wins, and then they're going to track star the entire match until the domain activates. And with how domains are in this game, it's definitely a viable strategy because domains in this game are instant kill. Gojo's is a guaranteed kill, Sukuna's is an instant kill, Hakari's isn't, but he really doesn't count because his domain isn't made for that purpose. Like, there's definitely going to be a lot of track starting problems that would happen with this, but it's an interesting idea that I think could be cool if it was tested and kind of fleshed out. Kamado in the Spin suggests a drawing emote to be added to the game, and I feel like this is an idea that could go extremely wrong, and as much as I love it, I don't think it can be added to the game. Because what's going to happen is, knowing this community and how absolutely bonkers they are, people are going to take this emote, draw balls, everything you can imagine, probably walk up to like some black person in game and then draw the N-word on the easel, and then like just completely screw things up. Like, you cannot give people that much free speech in this game because they're going to screw around with it and do awful things. People are gonna go up to the Twin Towers and draw 9/11 or something. It's just gonna be a mess. And I'd love for this to happen, but I don't know if it can just because of how horrendous people can get with this. Lovely suggestion, just not really a thing that would work with this kind of community. The final suggestion I'm going to review today is from the energetic artist who created a Higuruma moveset. And this one's a little bit interesting, but I'm not exactly sure if I like it or not. First, the passive. The player gets less damage than normal on their M1s, but also has higher range. And I think this could be like very annoying to deal with in neutral, but also like kind of gut your combo damage a little bit. It's an interesting idea. I just don't really like the idea of M1s having more range than normal just because it kind of screws things up. Like, there was a reason sword M1s were removed in ABA. They completely screwed up M1 trading for any character that wasn't a sword character, so I don't know if I like this specific passive idea. First move is Final Verdict. It's RNG based, so 2 different kind of outcomes can happen. One of them either nerfing your opponent by removing their awakening bar and one of their skills, and the other one just stunning them for 3 seconds. That is a long time, but I don't think it's that bad of an idea, but I don't like the concept of RNG based stuff. Like, it's either an extender or just a huge debuff, depending on RNG. I feel like that screws up too much stuff. And RNG in fighting games just generally isn't that great for, like, some stuff. I don't like it in this instance, but if it is tested out, if Z decides to implement this, if it's tested, maybe it could turn out well. I just don't think it's a great idea, in my opinion. But that's all I'm doing is analyzing it theoretically, so I haven't seen it, so I can't really say anything for sure. Second thing is a kind of standard combo starter and extender. Looks like just an extender, which is kind of boring because he says mediocre range and very high end lag if blocked. That means it's probably not that good if it has mediocre range. It can only be used for combo extending, so I don't like moves that are made solely for combo extending because they're just boring. I mean, like, Curse Strikes, yeah, that move gets used all the time for combo extending, but it can also be used as a really good combo starter. While here, because of the mediocre range, there's no way this is going to be used as a combo starter. It just won't happen. Then for Judgment, let's see how this move works. An activated giant gavel spawns next to the player and slams down onto anyone facing. Can be easily avoided but cannot be blocked or countered. I mean, if it works similar to Max Elephant, it looks like it'd be a really good move for down slamming. Probably a decent, maybe a decent guard break, but the high end lag the high startup might be a problem. If it can't be blocked or countered, though, it might be a really good way to deal with Manji Kick and Shutter Doors counter for Yuji and Hikari. So it seems like an interesting move. I like this idea, sort of. And finally, Objection. If the player is hit with an M1, they will point at the opponent and yell Objection, ragdoll his opponent and pushes them away from the player. Yeah, of course it's a reference to Phoenix, right? I'm a little tired of counters, honestly. It fits here, because this moveset seems kind of like a zoner in a sense, because with the whole extended M1s, but I'm just a little bit tired of the whole, like, counters that just ragdoll someone concept, because it's really overused. Like, come on, we already have that with Yuji and Hikari. I feel like Higuruma, with how much material he has, could get a more creative counter than just ragdoll. Moving on to the Awakening, it's a lot of stuff to look at. So he opens up his domain, and it stops people from moving or attacking. If nobody in the domain has more than 5 kills in 1 life, everyone in the domain will lose their skills for 8 seconds. If someone in the domain has more than 5 kills, they will be put in the electric chair, doing a lot of damage, and giving the user the Executioner's Blade. Problem. Major problem with this is the whole ranked thing. Because in ranked, you cannot get more than 5 kills in 1 life. You can't get more than 2 kills in a single match without it ending. So that just becomes completely useless there. I like the idea of, like, punishment for your sins with, like, Higuruma. It fits him, but it won't really work in like a fighting game like this, because it just wouldn't work in ranked. Funny for public servers, but a 5-kill conditional, that is very hard to meet. First move, guillotine, combo starter, guard break. Spawns a guillotine on top of the person that the player is facing. Z is going to hate this. I know Z is going to hate this just because, like, he hated the suggestions where people like suggested Hikari to drop shipping containers on people because it was just like, or like dropping slot machines on people because they were just like BS moves that came from Jujutsu Infinite. So I don't think he's gonna like this. If it stuns, it looks like a decent combo starter for sure. Kind of like maybe Max Elephant, but not a ragdoll. So interesting move there. Lethal injection, I cannot not think of Law here, but from ABA. But let me see. When activated, the player sticks to their opponent with a lethal injection. Interesting with the like whole death penalty thing. I like that idea. It decreases their speed and does passive damage over time. Has short range but can be used to extend M1. So does that mean he has two combo extenders in his mode? That seems very unfun to fight, but who knows. Decreasing their speed is crippling probably. Means you can't run from him, which is definitely pretty strong. So looks like a strong move for sure. When activated, an attorney will spawn next to the player, and it faces someone inputting the skill again, does a blockable weaker version of guillotine. Is that a third freaking combo extender then? Having the attorney around increases your damage by 15%. Also a flat damage buff, so that's even more damage, jeez. Goes away after 10 seconds and cannot use while being hit with skills or M1s, so like Divine Dogs. Jeez, that sounds overpowered because like a 15% damage buff on top of 2 combo extenders is just a crap ton of damage. And finally, when activated, the player switches from the Executioner's Sword to the Gavel. The Gavel exponentially increases in size and it slams down. Large attack with very high range. Seems like a kind of hollow purple kind of move. Just big AoE, kind of hard to dodge, but good reward for hitting it. I like this idea. Seems pretty in line with how Awakenings are. And seems like it could be just really funny. I feel like this Awakening's overtuned. It's definitely really overtuned with how much damage it does, though. I got to say that. But hey, it's all theoretical. I feel like this could be really interesting in game, so we'll see. And with that, we've reached the end of today's yapping session. There's a lot of suggestions in Jujutsu Shenanigans, and this selection was completely and totally random, with the only criteria being that there was some meat to the suggestion, and not just the words add Choso with nothing else. More of these videos will be uploaded during the week, since I'm currently away on something that is very far from vacation. But while I won't be here to respond immediately, I'd still love to know what you think about each of these suggestions, which you can tell me about in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed watching, then make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for even more in-depth commentary on Jujutsu Shenanigans. I'm Noob Eternally, and I'll see you next time in another video. Bye.